What's up? I'm Ayla,
I'm Beth Ann.
and this is Let's Talk BL, a boys love podcast.
What's up? Welcome back. It's Series Sunday. All the day of the week, we're talking all about one series and one series only. I'm
And
excited.
you know what? This is the day of the week that we don't have to be on our game. Get it? On our game? Because
Oh, yeah.
it's a
Nice.
thing. I'm doing a thing, you guys. It's a bit. It's a bit. Please support my comedy.
Oh, your bits are always, you never know what's gonna happen. Y'all, we're talking Don't Say No. Like this series Sunday is truly the series Sunday that I never thought would happen.
It happened. We finally get to talk about it.
No. I never thought it would happen because I didn't know the series would be the series. Like
You mean that I would actually watch it and talk about it?
maybe, but or that like even I would, or like that
Yeah.
people would be excited about it. But like this series
It snuck up
truly
on us.
was amazing and took
Who
everyone by
knew?
surprise. Because listen, as much as we love Tarn type, y'all, the bar was set so low for these characters. Like
For the characters.
and
Okay,
just that world.
Before we will get into all of this and we will talk about why this show was such a surprise. But let's start with the basics. There are 12 episodes of this show. 12 glorious episodes of this show. It's available on Line TV. And in our starring roles, I'm very proud and happy to announce, if you hadn't already heard, these two people will be guests on Let's Talk BL this coming Wednesday. So, our two starring roles, we have Ja as Leo and First as Fiat. And Ja first, you guys.
The only Leo Fiat that could be Leo Fiat. Like,
I mean,
superb. Okay, let's get into the synopsis. The synopsis is like short and to the point, which I kind of appreciate, and it's just perfect. Okay, if I am that right person for you, then from now on, you can't say no to me. From friends to lovers, how will this relationship go when one is a good guy, but the other one is a bad boy? Is it possible to turn a bad boy into a lover?
Yes, it's possible. And let me tell you, First does it in a single episode. It takes no time for you to stop hating him.
Yeah, totally. In Tarn Type Season 2, I mean, like, you don't just like hate him. You despise him enough that like you don't want to watch Don't Say No.
Here's the thing, and particularly me. So if you go back and you listen to the Tarn Type series Sunday, I have talked about before, I actually don't really like Type as a character.
Right.
But I do love Golf. I adore Golf. But still, I don't love Type as a character. I think Type is very flawed. I think Type is very problematic. I think all of the things that Type did to Fiat were I cannot get behind, right? But I still had such a visceral reaction to Fiat that I couldn't even look at his face. Like his face would pop up places.
How appropriate.
And I would just I would shut down. I mean, I refused to learn his name. This is another one. This is like Drake, where I refused to learn his name for a hot minute. I wouldn't even learn First's name because I hated Fiat that much. He made me mad just to see his face. That's how much I hated Fiat from Tarn Type. I wasn't going to watch the show. The name of the show came out and I was like, ew, I don't like that. Literally, I didn't like the name of the show. It got announced and I was like, nah.
Ayla is the epitome of the love to hate trope. Hate to love trope.
Hate to love. And enemies to lovers.
Everything that she hates, she will eventually come to love, and she will not only love it, she will fall head over heels, and it will be a whole thing.
I am enemies to lovers just as a human being.
We're getting that shirt made. I am a BL trope.
I am a BL trope. No, it's true. I hated it so much. And I truly was like, I'm not going to watch this. Like, you have fun watching it. I'm not going to watch it. And then TikTok happened to me. And I started seeing the clips. And I was like, I want to watch it. And it was like, it was like, like Dark Kermit was like in my brain. And it was like, do it. Do it. Even though like my heart was like, don't do it.
Yeah.
And then I did it. And literally, I mean, within minutes, I forgot that I hated Fiat because I loved him that much. That is how much first made me love Fiat.
It's so true.
It's insane.
The acting of these two actors is superb. Like, and the greatest part about it all is that like they're only the tip of the iceberg of this show. And we will get to the side characters, but yeah, starting with like just the whole plot line in general, what I love about the show and is so refreshing is that it's not actually a typical BL where like there's no coming out, there's no coming to terms with one's sexuality, there's no like it's just
there's also not really like a long con. Like in pretty much every BL, there's like a long con. Right. In this one, it's more set up like a sitcom where at the end of every episode, something gets resolved. Yeah. There are some sort of like longer plot points, right? Like the situation with Fiat's mom and then the situation with King that was kind of drawn out a little bit. But for the most part, you get a conflict and a resolution in a single episode, which I am obsessed with. A lot of people hated that, but I really loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I saw a lot of discourse about people not loving that setup.
Interesting.
I loved it though.
I was super satisfied overall. I don't overthink these things. Like I'm not reading into anything dramatically. Like I just want to see two boys kiss. And so
here's the thing, as someone who I don't watch things live, I binge things because I can't not find out the resolution of the long con. And that's why I have to be able to binge, right? Yeah. And so that's why I watched this live. This is only one of 2 shows I have ever watched live. Mm-hmm. The other one I watched because of war. And like, yes, duh. Always on my war agenda. But I loved as a binger, this show is great for bingers because you get a conflict and a resolution, but you still have like a little bit of a long con going on. And so it's really nice because for bingers, I think this show is set up really, really well.
Yeah. And the other thing I really loved was I felt like the surprising part of the show, and like we saw it a little bit like in the conversations on the Discord, is that so many people were so surprised by how well they handled like there was no slut shaming of Fiat. There was no.
Well, so there was a little bit. So let's talk about it a little. There was a little bit, and I didn't love this either. And here's why: because I was so protective of Fiat so quickly, which is like a revelation in and of itself. Right. But so the only problem, like truly, one of the only problems in the whole show, which is wild because like if you think about what we're talking about here, the fact that this is one of the only problems is that Fiat always has to have an answer for why he hooked up with a boy, right? So like with King and with the other boys where like it's come out that he's hooked up with them, he always has some reason. He has to have some like intricate, like crazy reason as to why he did it. Like, no, let him live. He was allowed to hook up with other boys and not have a reason for it. And it doesn't make him a slut. And it doesn't make him like a bad person. Like there doesn't have to be a reason for you as a human to hook up with someone, right? It doesn't make you a bad person just because you slept around. And so that was the thing that I didn't love about it, is that for every hookup, he had to have like some elaborate reason as to like why he did it. And it's like, no, he doesn't have to explain why he hooked up with somebody at like,
but were people asking him why? Like, or he just felt like he needed to justify himself?
So it was set up that he was like justifying himself and like, and I mean, that's just the writing of the show that like, well, there was a reason why he slept with all these boys. The reason can just be because he wanted to sleep with the boys. You know what I mean? Like that's okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I think in certain situations and in even in society now, like if you haven't really come to terms with why you did it, like because that's the thing, is like the overarching story is that like he did it because he was really wanting Leo, but like he was trying to fulfill like that empty hole in his life with like other boys because he couldn't have Leo. And I think a little bit was him justifying to himself of like, okay, I can't have what I really want, so like I'm fulfilling this need. And like I don't know. I see it totally
feel like
different.
It's just bad writing. Like, I mean, that just comes down to the writing. Yeah, exactly. And everybody's making the same face. Everybody's like, duh, Ayla. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying is like that was a particular writing style that didn't need to happen in this because he was already so beloved. It's okay, right? And so like there was that. That being said, the way they handled everything else in this show, I kind of blew my mind about how great it was.
They have sex toys. They have sexy underwear. They have like all
Here's the thing.
things.
Even the sex scenes are like respectful.
So good.
What? So like good. It's mind blowing.
There were some like 50 Shades of Grey things and like
towards the end, yeah.
Classic BL tropes of like, you know, possessiveness and locking you up, but like that's to be expected. Like that's just something that you're like, it's never going to go away. It's a thing that they enjoy doing for some reason. But what
the thing at the end, Leo's whole little low-key, I was like, okay.
The interesting thing that I think we should talk about as we like kind of wrap up talking about the main two boys is we had very different views of Leo because the entire show from his introduction in Tarn Type to the end of the show, as much as I love Jaw and just think he's beautiful,
I would die for Jaw. Also, Jaw's like a really good person. He's so nice, you guys.
He was adorable. I thought Leo was a coward the entire time. And he says it multiple times himself. So like I feel justified. But like I didn't appreciate just his meekness so many times. Like everybody wants to define it as like strong but silent, and that's just like not what I am here for. Like I definitely loved Fiat and was like more for Fiat, but Leo, especially towards the end when he's like kissing this girl to like get information to protect Fiat and then like overreacts when, you know, Fiat basically does the same thing and is like trying to get information out of King. And I'm like, y'all,
Fiat's the one that breaks up with him. Fiat's the one that breaks up with him. So if we're talking about who's overreacting, it was Fiat, right? Like Fiat sets that into motion when he, even after, okay, and here's the other thing. Okay. So I need to center myself because, okay, and here's like, this is just like, you and I are two very different people. And you have seen this sort of like, throughout the like this podcast is that we tend to like relate to kind of the opposite characters. So I personally relate more to the way that like Leo handles himself is that like it's not on me to like, and it's not on Leo to like fix things for you, and if you're interpreting something a certain way, like that's on you. Like it is not on me to like make you feel better all the time. No, like totally. That like you should handle yourself. And so Leo kind of like it was like a quiet force, and like he had already made himself very clear about how he felt, and why should he have to repeat it all the time, and why should he have to like play that role. But okay, particularly for what you're talking about, this whole like situation with King and the girl and the ridiculousness at the end.
It starts in Tarn Type 2 because Leo was part of that whole kidnapping fiasco with Fiat. Like he was he
went to like teach him a lesson. But again, we have seen a departure, and I feel like we have already established that we separate Tarn Type from Don't Say No because Fiat is not held accountable for all of his ridiculous actions, right? So, like, why are we tying that back now to Leo, right? Like, if you can separate Fiat in the two series, why can't you separate Leo in the two series?
He definitely mentioned,
first of all,
in Don't Say No when he's sitting on the steps with that girl. And
he says, I already tried to steal somebody's boyfriend. But what I'm saying is you, as a person, just said that you can separate Fiat in the two series. So if you can separate Fiat in Tarn Type versus Don't Say No, then why? Because you're like, well, it started in Tarn Type.
Because his character
he's basically a different character.
No, his character is consistent. Like, I see
I disagree.
character development or change in him.
I disagree completely. But
wait, what's his character development? I'm curious.
But the situation with with this girl, otherwise this series Sunday is gonna be a million years long.
Oh my god.
The situation with the girl and King.
Yes.
This is on Fiat. It is on Fiat. And as much as Fiat is perfect for the entire rest of the season, this one's on Fiat, and here's why.
Tell me.
Fiat sees Leo kissing this girl, right? Like, we all were like, right? When he walks up and it's dark and whatever, like in the night in the school.
And where Rin says that she would 100% go punch
the
girl. I'm like, yes.
And instead of being like, hey, what's going on? And like trusting his boyfriend, he like has this weird like mental breakdown. And then when it happens again, right? So like the girl is like, why don't you kiss me like you mean it, whatever. And it's like after the basketball game. Leo fully says,
Fiat has his awesome moment.
Yes, Fiat pops off. Fiat pops off.
Yeah.
As he well should. But then here's what happens. This whole time Fiat is going through it and he's like, I just love him so much. And like, I can't believe. And he's just like really like, he's like, I can't help that I'm jealous. And he's like privately really having a hard time, really, really having a hard time with this. As well he should, right? He's watching his boyfriend kiss someone else. What happens in that moment is Leo says, I need to tell you what's happening. I need to explain to you what's happening. And instead of letting him communicate, which is the thing that you're saying Leo isn't doing, Fiat's like, no, it's whatever. I don't even care. Like, and he like puts on this big show.
Right.
When Leo is trying to communicate and being like, I need to tell you what's going on because this is getting out of hand. Like, I thought I could handle it, but I can't. And I need to tell you what's happening. Right. Fiat literally won't let him tell him what's happening, which is what leads to the situation with King. Because if Fiat had just let Leo tell him what was happening, Fiat wouldn't have fallen into that trap with King. And then here's the thing. When Leo goes to the bar or whatever and like finds King and Fiat like kind of like hanging on each other, like not even kissing, but just like hanging on each other. Right. First of all, Fiat has a pattern of past behavior where he has done this sort of thing, regardless of what, like whether or not he had like a reason for it in the past. Leo, however, has never had that kind of pattern of behavior. So it makes sense for Leo to be more concerned about Fiat's behavior because Fiat has just watched his boyfriend kiss a girl and then he didn't let his boyfriend explain to him what was happening. And then he's like hanging all over some other guy. There's a pattern of behavior in his history to suggest that may be exactly what's happening. We know that it's not, and blah, blah, blah. But it makes sense that Leo would be upset. And so then when he goes home and he like sleeps it off and then he wakes up, instead of pulling a Fiat who's like privately going through it and not telling his boyfriend, hey, I'm upset that this thing happened. Right. Leo tells his boyfriend. Leo tells Fiat, I had a hard time with this. Like Leo literally to his face is like crying. And this is a big moment for Leo because Leo doesn't show a lot of emotion.
Right. He's like, I don't want to see your face, which is a weird line. I thought that was a very strange line.
He never shows that kind of emotion. So the fact that he's being open and actually showing that kind of emotion is a big deal. And so he's doing that and he's telling his boyfriend, like, this was really hard for me to see. And he says, and he's like going through it. And yeah, he says some stuff, but he's upset. And he tells him, he's like, it's hard for, like, I don't want to see your face. And if you listen to everything he's saying, Fiat very selectively picked that little bit out instead of listening to all of what Leo was saying, which was like, I love you so much. And now when I look at you, all I can think of is you hanging all over this guy. And before when we were friends, I could handle that. And now that we're dating, I can't. Yeah. And that's why this is hard for me. And so when you pair it all together, it makes sense. But if you pick out just that one line, which is what Fiat did, instead of listening to his boyfriend and understanding what he was feeling, because remember, Fiat felt this, he just did it privately and didn't tell anyone about it.
Right.
Okay, Leo was trying to communicate with him and trying to tell him, like, I'm having a hard time with this. And instead of understanding his boyfriend and understanding where he was coming from and saying, like, we can work on this and we can figure it out, he broke up with him.
Yeah. I would say to your
point. So that's
on
Fiat.
Yeah, I would say to your point, like, it's on Leo because he knows Fiat. Like, he knows why Fiat did what he did now. He knows that
he didn't at that point.
He knows
because
Fiat,
they didn't know about the drugging and the conversation because Fiat never tells him.
No. I'm talking about he knows why Fiat slept around. He knows that, like, Fiat was really insecure about deserving Leo. He knows that Fiat was, like, scared because we get that whole moment at the beginning.
So either you want him to communicate or you don't. So, like, what's the answer? Should he have not communicated with him that he was upset that he saw this happen?
No. Hold on. So the thing with Leo is that he just doesn't say what he feels from the beginning. Here's the thing.
Though.
Here's the
in
thing.
That moment.
When Fiat shuts him down, because Fiat has had this whole character development and he's now like, okay, I'm with the man that I love. Like, we finally got to this place. He is trying to be, like, strong and resilient and, like, confront this girl in front of Leo and, like, have these moments and is like, I'm okay. And when Leo has that moment where he's like, no, I need to tell you what's going on, even if Fiat shut him down, he still should have told him, because
he tried. Fiat ran away. What's he supposed to do? Like, Fiat literally ran off.
Right.
To go cry by a tree. He ran off to go sit by a tree and cry. Like, no, I mean, I'm being honest,
the
right?
Towel on his head crying was a lot.
Yeah, so if you want to talk about, like, development and he grew up and he's being resilient, like, first of all, it is not on Leo. It's not on you, anybody, you, like the royal you.
Yeah.
As a person to, like, be like, that is what you're describing, like a toxic relationship. So, like, you in that moment, Leo did everything he could do to explain, to communicate, and instead Fiat chose to go off and spiral instead of communicating. Like, that communication breakdown, that was Fiat.
Yeah, I think that there's just, like, two very different types of people in this situation where Leo has known Fiat his entire life. So, like, he knows what they know each other. I think that's where I take issue, is that, like, even if Fiat's crying by a tree by himself, like, Leo knows he's doing that. Like, that's the thing. And, like, and the most annoying part is the moment where Leo is like, hey, King's gonna try to come for us. Like, you need to be careful. And he's already, like, insecure and crying on the bed, right? Where he's, like, doing his homework and Leo comes in. And I'm like, you guys need to have this conversation, like, way before this whole situation goes down.
I'm just saying, no matter how, like, it is not your job as a person to change or do anything or be someone's keeper, right?
No,
Being in a relationship doesn't mean that you're someone's keeper. And so if Leo was doing all that he could to communicate in that situation and Fiat just, like, that's like, that is on him as a person. It is not just because he knows him and they've been friends since forever. Like, that should mean that the same thing falls on Fiat. Again, Fiat should know when has Leo ever proven himself to be anything but, like, a genuine friend, a good boyfriend, right? Like, never. Versus, I mean, yes, Fiat does have a history. Like you said, he used to be insecure and he used to come from this place of, and so it is very easy to look at that and say he fell back into that pattern because he got insecure, because he got upset, because he has a past history of doing this. So again, they know each other. And so Fiat should have known and let his boyfriend tell him what was going on instead of, like, doing this weird thing. And it's not Leo's job to be Fiat's keeper. It's just not.
My argument is that Leo should have told him before they even got to that moment. Like, before that conversation, before Leo comes to Fiat and is like, you need to be careful of King because he's going to come for us. I think the girl had already talked to Leo at that point, or like he had been told by somebody else, but at that point was like they were already past the point where Leo should have gone to Fiat and is like, hey, he's gonna try to get to us. We need to
but
make
that
sure
doesn't
like
mean that
we
the whole
communicate.
that doesn't mean the whole situation is on Leo though. It's on
Oh,
Fiat
no,
because at that point, like Leo tried. So that whole breakup and that whole spiral, that's actually on Fiat. It's not on Leo. And it's not like Leo being a coward or being scared. It's like Leo trying to communicate his feelings and trying to do better and trying to be a better boyfriend because, like, kind of to your point, he was always that like strong but silent type. And so he's having all these feelings and he's like communicating, which is the thing he's supposed to do. That like, hey, I'm upset and let's figure this out. And he's like venting. That's like a normal, healthy thing to do in a relationship. Yeah. And instead of being normal and healthy, the like non-healthy thing to do in that situation is to say, well, fine, we should just break up. It's like the equivalent of being like, I'm going to take my ball and go home. Right? Yeah. Like Fiat was being childish in that situation. And instead of understanding where his boyfriend was coming from, because by the way, he just cried by a tree by himself. He should have understood those feelings.
Yeah.
He behaved that way.
Yeah.
So that was not on Leo. That was on Fiat. It just was.
Yeah. I think we will definitely see this very differently. That's what I love about like our conversations about these kinds of things is like we both hold very true to the way that we see things because we have different experiences and we have different ways that we've like gone through situations. And so when we go into these shows, we're going to see them very differently. And I can understand like everything that you're saying and like appreciate that kind of stuff. So let's move on to the side characters because
really the show's like LeonPob. Like, let's be real. Yeah. Like,
there's no argument about LeonPob. They're perfect. They're wonderful. They both deserve everything.
Really, the show is LeonPob. Like, come on.
Because
okay, so LeonPob, if you are new here. Leon is played by Smart. You can go watch our interview with him. He's amazing and adorable. And there has never been a better boy to walk the face of this planet. Truly. This kid, he walked his way into fandom, like into fame. Truly, this kid walked his way into fame by just walking down the street. If you want to hear that story, again, go watch our interview with him. Superb. So Leon is played by Smart. Leon is Leo's younger brother. And then P-Pob is played by James, who might like James.
I love him so much. James. I just want to talk about his soy milk business.
If you only know James as Pob, can I just humbly suggest that you maybe just go like hop onto the IG. Yes. Hop onto the IG and just peruse this man, who, by the way, is like a whole man. He's like 28 years old, like a whole. I never would have guessed. I was truly shocked. I was like, wait, what?
These boys, for this to be their first show, acted the mess out of these characters. Like, truly, the chemistry. Because what's crazy about these boys is that the behind the scenes is like them just being the cutest friends ever. But like on screen, their chemistry and just their interactions and like the innocence that James brings to Pob.
Yes.
Like crying over that cat.
And the like mischievousness that Smart brings to Leon. I mean, which is like perfect.
The discourse that Fiat and Leon have. Like,
oh my God, that relationship is like my favorite.
Perfection.
I need them to have some sort of like spin-off show or like a YouTube series. Okay, Me Mind Why. Hear me out. Me Mind Why. Okay. We need, this is what we need. We need like a YouTube series. You know how like, okay, you know how Cow Up go on their little like adventures? They like go traveling together. Yeah. Okay, I need that, but I need it to be Leon and Fiat. So like First and Smart as Leon and Fiat, right? Like not as Smart and First. Like I want like Leon Fiat just like bickering their way through like a 6-episode stretch. Yes. I'm obsessed with it. I need it. Like, give it to me.
With James and Jod just like sitting
James
in the
and
back,
Ja.
but
as James and Ja, not as Leo and Pob, not as Leo and Pob. You've got like Ja in the back with like a tree, like he's chilling, and then James has some milk, and they're just like trying to live their best lives, and then you have Fiat and Leon, and just like
so good. I'm super excited to watch the special episode that comes out tomorrow. Or Saturday, sorry. Because we get a time jump, we get them reuniting.
3-year time jump.
I really appreciated the maturity of this relationship. That's the crazy part about this, right? Where it's Leon is, I think, a freshman.
I think he's supposed to be a sophomore, maybe a freshman, but yeah.
And then Pob is like a senior. And they, in their sweet little May December romance, have this moment where, you know, Pob is like, I mean, I could just like squeeze.
So,
Pob.
okay, what's fun about this is so we're obviously talking about the Leon Pob breakup, infamous. I watched this before you did.
Yes.
And I understood. So I'm a sucker for Smart. That kid just, he walked his way into my heart and slammed the door and locked it and then threw away the key. Truly. I am a fool for that boy. So I loved Leon even before we met Smart and kind of got to know him a little bit, because Leon is such a fun character. And really cool thing about Leon, he's pan, and he like very openly is pan, and it's like part of his character, and they announce it, and like I think that's really rad, and I like it a lot. And he explains exactly what it is, and he explains his sexual, and he is very confident in it, and it's just like a part of the show. And I love that. I think that's super rad. So I really liked Leon from the start. I also really liked the Leon Fiat thing whenever they were like trying to figure out what was going on with Pob. They were like, Pob likes Leo. And they were both like very upset about it.
Very cute. Fiat's little like sassiness in that moment is very, very cute.
They were both very upset about like in the library. So I loved Leon kind of from the beginning, got to know Smart, and I love Smart as a person. And so, but you were like deep into the Leon Pob situation. Like, and so when I watched it, I literally, I think I texted you and I was like, Beth Ann, I was like, I just need you to be careful. And you had like seen some spoilers, so you knew what happened. And I was like, well, I'm just going to tell you, there's a reason that Pob is not crying. And you were like, you just like couldn't understand. And I just remember watching it and being like, Beth Ann is gonna just like lose it over this. I understood it. I was like, this is rad, and I knew what I wanted from it. So I know what I want from the special episode. I pitched this in the Discord. If you ever want to know my like hot takes, like while it's happening, Celestial Gear Garden, I talk about like really, I don't know, I have stupid opinions, and that's where I post them. So sorry, y'all. So sorry, Celestial Gear Garden. Y'all treat me right, but I have stupid opinions that I'm always throwing in there. Anyways, when this happened, my like hot take on this, so I was like, you guys, I figured out how to fix this. This is what we do. A tale of 1,000 stars it. Okay. This is what we do. We tale of 1,000 stars it. Okay. Pob is off somewhere serving the children. Okay. He's being like a good, like, orphan daddy. Okay. Love an orphan daddy. And he's just like living his life, helping the children, being Pob. And then Leon is our Tion, right? Like Leon is our Tion. And Leon is like trying to find himself or whatever. Like, I don't know, maybe he gets into drag racing. That's cool with me. Maybe he's running in the same crowds. Maybe White is involved. Okay, you guys, White has to be in on this project.
Reel it in. We got some other friends to talk about.
Anyways, the whole point is, I was like, we tale of 1,000 stars it. Pob is in the wilderness helping the children. Leon, rich boy, shows up. They reconnect. They make out in a hammock. No Sharpie beards to be found. It's going to be great. I'm a problem solver. I'm here to help the people.
To say that I am excited about the time jump and the reuniting of these two boys in the special episode, like, I don't think we could have done this series Sunday having watched the special episode, because I probably will not be okay after watching that, because I like I I just I don't know what I want to happen. Like I kind of want them to get back together, but also like I'm okay with them being friends. Like it's like a light on me situation where like
I feel like what's gonna happen is it's gonna be, because like, I mean, we can all agree there's a Leo Fiat proposal happening, right? Like we all agree this is the thing that's happening. Okay. Right. Yeah. So I was like, right. Listen, the Tarn type world follows a very specific like like there's a very specific setup. So yeah, I think we can all agree there's a proposal happening here. What I feel like is going to happen is that like at the end, there's going to be like a hint of like do you want to go on a date? And then it's going to be them like, it's going to be like open-ended. Like, are they or aren't they? But it's going to be like hinted that they are.
Speaking of dates,
that's just what I think. I don't know.
Speaking of dates, the very first date that Leon takes that Leon takes Pob on, that first date where like they have this like sweet conversation about Pob's history, about his adopted dad, about the cat, and then
the cat,
and then like Leon gives him flowers, and then they have their moment where they kiss, and he's like, push me away if you hate it, like consent. Oh my god, like, oh, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, their whole relationship is perfect. Even they're like, okay,
the amount of compilations I've watched of that, just them, I just can't.
Their relationship is perfect. Like the communication is always on key. It's always on point, right? They communicate with each other. There's consent present at all times. There is like an excess of consent, and I'm here for it. And then there's also just like, even during the breakup, there's communication during the breakup. Right. And like even their spicy scenes like are somehow like so innocent. Like that moment. Okay, I will say one of my favorite moments in the whole show is when like they're getting it on and Leon is like taking off his shirt, right? It's like starting to get serious. Like this is what it's like serious. It's become like a situation. And Pob like covers his face and he's like, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, that's full Ayla.
I felt that in that moment. I was like, me too.
As soon as Pob did that, I was like, that's Ayla. Was Ayla.
It's me. Point. I was like, me too. Like, I feel you. So yeah, like they're honestly, everything about their relationship is so good. Also, like, they're just adorable and just I hope we get a spinoff of them. We never did get our like boat doc spinoff, which is like Doc Champ.
yeah.
I mean, boat plays champ. So like I got the people right, but like I mixed up the stuff.
The analogy works, I guess.
We never did get the Doc Champ situation, which we deserved. Like we were robbed. Yeah. And I just hope they don't rob us of LeonPob.
True. Okay, we have got to move on because there are so many other side characters. Let's just briefly mention Rin plays Anda and Beam plays Natsu. Truly the most unproblematic women in a BL to ever be written.
Also, Anda is a boss and she's one of the best friends in like a long time. Like she reminds me of, and I can't believe I'm going to forget her name, from Together With Me. The main lady friend from Together With Me. I don't know. Somebody tell me. It's been so long since I watched Together With Me. But she is my favorite friend in any BL ever. And Anda reminds me a lot of her. And also Anda is just like, she's a boss bitch. And the fact that she got to like slap Jaw in the face is truly just like outstanding. Okay, Rin slaps Jaw in the face. And as like, okay, Rin was also a Jaw fan. Again, you can watch our interview with Rin, or you can listen to our interview with Rin. And she talks about like, so you guys, like, Rin's a BL fan. Like, she watched Tarn Type before she auditioned. She like all of this stuff. And she was she really liked Jaw. She did not like Fiat. She didn't like Fiat from Tarn Type. So she wasn't like a huge first fan, but she liked Jaw. And that like slapping scene was the first thing she had to do with him. And like, girl, I'm like, no, but I love Josh so much that like, I don't know if anybody watches Bob's Burgers, but there's a plot line in Bob's Burgers where Louise discovers her love for this boy band, and she sees one of them. His name is Boo Boo, and she sees him, and she's like, I just want to slap his beautiful, hideous face. And like, this is her whole thing, is she's like so in love with him. She just wants to give him a smack in the face. So like, I felt that because like, I feel that. And also, okay, here's just another fun fact about Anda as a character. She carries an authentic designer bag. And then the girl that is like the evil girl that Leo kisses, she carries a knockoff. And I think it's really interesting that they actually made that girl kind of like a knockoff of Anda. It like as a character, right? Yeah. She's kind of like the poor man's Anda.
Yeah.
Which I think is like really cool and interesting. And Anda's a boss and I love her. But you know who else is awesome? Natsu. She's a great friend of Fiat. She's like always there for him.
Like that super sweet heart to heart that they have on the steps where like where Fiat's going through it over like the photos and the video. Like, man, that whole scene is, I remember watching that and being like, yes, this is how this show is what it is. Like, it's this moment defines like how good this show is gonna be.
She is a wonderful friend. And then also just like their relationship, I love it so much. And I love that like Natsu is the pursuer in this situation. I really dig that, because at the end when Anda, who is like the most gorgeous woman I have ever seen, I think, like, oh my God, incredible, is like goes full princess at the ball, which again, Rin, God bless you and your jaw-loving self that you got to go like literally like be a princess. And like, I mean, she's living the dream, you guys. She's living the dream.
Anyways,
Natsu is like, left to the side. she's like, yeah, we're not rich or fancy enough to be at this ball. And she's like, but Anda looks hot. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I would also love to see this spinoff. I think they would be so fun with like the horde of friends with Tho and Aik and Nam. Like the three of them, we get the introduction of a new set of twins who like.
Y'all know I love a twin.
Have fully stolen my heart, because I didn't tell you this, but I probably spent a good 30 minutes like trying to like really commit to memory, like which one was Sing and which one was Chai. I was like, I need to be able to differentiate between the two, which is actually kind of easy. Like once you look at them enough.
They have more differences than AJJJ. I will say AJJ, and I think AJJJ do like GMMTV does that on purpose to them. GMMTV is like with AJJJ like the equivalent of like a stage mom that like dresses the twins exact and like will like draw a mole on one of them if the other one doesn't have it, right? It's like one of those situations. So I think like AJJJ look more similar purposefully. Like I think they style them exactly the
like
same on purpose. Yeah. And also I think they have fun with like their little mischievous like Loki situation where they can switch places. I think that Sing and Chai like, but also they just have more differences. Like one of them's a little taller than the other one. They style their hair differently.
Right. The style in this show, speaking of, the style in this show is superb. Like every single episode I was like, they are killing it.
Yeah, those two have the best style in the whole show. Whole show. Like I know that they made like Fiat like a little fashion boy, but he got nothing on these twins. I'm telling you, the twins are styled the best in the whole show. I'm obsessed with it. And Aik is Fiat's friend, right? And Tho is Leo's friend.
Yes.
So Aik's style in particular, I am obsessed. The way that they style Aik is, I mean, I love every time he's on screen. Also, I love the little like tongue-in-cheek moment they got when they were like,
Tho is Fiat's Tho is Fiat's
Tho
friend.
is Fiat's friend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Chai, like, I know who Chai is.
Okay.
Like,
so I guess Tho is the style that I like.
Yeah.
I like the little mischievous, like naughty boy one.
Yeah, Tho
yes.
is the one.
Yep. I love my little naughty
Tho
boy.
is the one that like walks in on Leo Fiat having their little moment, and he's like, Tho is crazy.
I like him a lot, but yeah, I think he has the best style out of the whole show.
Maybe the most problematic part of this show is Nam, played by Puth. Like, this boy is like questionable in literally everything he does.
Yeah, I do not love. Okay, this is again. Remember how I said there are only a couple of problematic things in this whole show, which is shocking.
Yeah.
Here's the one other problematic thing. Yeah, it's Nam.
Yeah.
Because the revenge porn at the end, the same problem that I have with what we did to Fiat in Tarn-Type Season 2, where like no matter how awful he was, he did not deserve that. Yeah. This is the problem I have with this revenge porn. Like, revenge porn is never okay. It's never okay to like upload a clip of somebody hooking up with somebody else to get revenge on them. It's just not okay. Right. And him being like, if you thought everyone saw the confession clip, like I'm going to make he says, like everyone at like all 4 universities know who you are, like whatever, like that, like, don't love that. Don't love that. Not here for it. No, thank you, sir.
To wrap this up, the fun fact about me is that I love I am that person that you're watching TV with, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that person, I know that person. They were in something else I've watched, and I can tell you that random side character who has been in this like random side thing. So when I was researching this, because I've started to do that with these actors, especially the adult actors in these shows, I'm like, oh my god, I know who these people are. And both of the dads, I was like, these men look familiar. So Leo's dad, the actor's name is Cobb, played Dean's dad in Until We Meet Again,
which is wild because okay, and here's why it's wild.
Yeah, Until We Meet Again world.
The whole reason that I love Joss so much is because your girl is a Peace In stan. And that means that if Leo's dad played Dean's dad, what that means is that he played Peace In's uncle.
Amazing.
So they were still related. Adorable. They remained related.
Also, Fiat's dad, the actor's name is Big, played Tae Tawan's dad in 3 Will Be Free, which makes him a gang daddy.
A gang daddy. We love a gang daddy. Also, 3 Will Be Free. So underrated. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it right now. Like, seriously, click away from this. You don't even have to listen to the end of this episode. I don't care if it means you're going to watch 3 Will Be Free. Also, wait, I was wrong. Peace In is not related to P. Dean, except in he's like spiritually related to P. Dean.
You love to say that you have this all figured out, but you don't have it all figured out.
I do have. If you this is not an Until We Meet Again episode, but I will name down this family tree for you right here, right now.
Back to war, everything comes back to Until We Meet Again.
Yeah,
that red thread.
Because you guys, Peace In.
Which,
also,
stay tuned.
Listen,
the interview episode, because
nobody's gonna make it this long. Again, we see the listener stats. We know you're not making it this long in this episode.
Although lately they have.
Some people have. So, like, if you're one of the few, here's the tidbit I'll give you for Wednesday's interview with John first is your girl is a Peace In stan, and your girl talks to Peace In about Peace In. Yeah. And like
Jaw's reaction is literally
it's a thing that happened. It's a thing that happened. Yeah. I've already done it. If you ever want to get like pre-interview clips, exclusives, I don't know, you can go actually watch that moment right now in Celestial Gear Garden. I actually clipped it and posted it there, and it's like an exclusive there because like y'all my homies. But yeah, anyways, talk to Ja about Peace In and the wig. The wig. Said the word wig.
We did.
It was the whole thing. The whole thing.
Yeah, I do appreciate like the overlap and the interweaving. I like went down a rabbit hole last night and found like 2 BL actors that had no connection that I knew of, and like found like vacation photos of them together and was like, yes, I love this. So
see, and like people get weirded out when I know that Alfred likes seals. Okay. Come on.
Well, I'm not screaming it to their face, so.
I was challenged. Okay, right now we're talking about Summer Days Boys. We have an interview with Summer Days coming out. Yeah. Random shout out hour in Series Sunday. If you haven't donated to Summer Days yet, go donate so we can watch the boys do the thing.
Should we do a Series Sunday on the 3-minute short film for Summer Days?
Yes, please. Also, yeah, I was like, I have my Tumblr and it has ice in it, and I was like, I'm pulling a big Alfred right now. I was like, my bad. But I have a straw.
He did.
I don't know if that's helpful. He did not have a straw. I can tell you everything Alfred did in that whole interview, in case you're wondering. Swear to God, this has gotten off track. Okay, here's what you need to know. This has been Let's Talk BL. Thank you for tuning in to another very chaotic Series Sunday. We're both in tears at this point, as per usual.
Don't forget to subscribe, follow, comment. Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL. We'll see you next time.